Hi YouTube. So this will probably be the longest on relationships video that I ever upload for my on relationships part of the channel. And the reason why is because I actually am going to read something to you. So basically, I know that this is something that a lot of people struggle with in relationships, and it's also something that I struggled a lot with, especially in my relationship with Richard. There was a particular night, which I'm going to read to you about, that Richard and I had a little discussion when we lived together. I think it was on January the 23rd of this year. It's a long time ago now, but I've thought about it, and I've thought about kind of like introducing the situation to you guys and seeing what you think about it. My opinion, of course, is written in here, and so what I want to do is read it to you guys so that you can all see basically how I feel and discuss it with me. Obviously it does not apply to Richard and I anymore, and it's just relationships in general, but the advice is still out there for those who need it, and the discussion is still out there for those who need it, especially myself. Yeah, so I'm just going to read this to you now. Keep in mind that it was written in January. Obviously, it's not recent. A relatively new friend of mine said to me recently that marriage is considering all of the things that you want and do not want for the rest of your life, and considering that the few that you don't want but they have, you'll have to live with forever, and the few that you want and they don't have, you'll also have to live with forever, and being completely okay with that. My mother always told me that I was a girl of immensely strong will, put more bluntly, extremely hard-headed. Uncle Doug said that in life you really have to pick your battles, and that if you're so strong about every little thing that you believe, no one will take any of it seriously. In recent years, I've come to find flaws in many of the ideas or principles or even needs and wants that have been generally accepted as mine in my life. And with that, I tried to be a lot less hard-headed about many of them. In some cases, assumed that as long as I loved someone, be it a friend, boyfriend, family member, or whatever, that I could let a few things that were the lesser of my battles pass me by. But wait. Who am I, then? Zara said a few things tonight that probably seemed hugely insignificant to her while we were hanging out. They were said in her cute little, I'm kind of smiling while saying this Z voice, which I can hear in my head now, but they rang a little bell in me that told me to investigate something further. Richard, I said, while he typed away on his laptop, some of my mom's Jamaican friends' kids have awesome island-style weddings, with Rasta singers playing steel drums. I loved it so much. I've wanted to do that since I was a teenager. I just always pictured my wedding that way. Backyard style, with steel drums and awesome food. And all casual, he goes, my parents would never come to that. Why? And he said, my family is way too traditional for that. I told Zara only hours ago that weddings didn't matter, that signing something at City Hall was just as good as anything, agreed that the day meant nothing, because it was really all about every other day after that for the rest of your life. And suddenly, everything that I said means nothing. It means that I was willing to do whatever, and everything I wanted was really in the hands of someone else. That I was willing to completely disregard everything that I thought or felt because someone else thought or felt differently. But as of a few hours ago, everything changed. Richard and I are completely as different as we could be, mainly because of our families, which isn't a big deal now, but let's think further down the road. A wedding doesn't matter much because it's mainly just a prelude to the rest of the stuff that does matter. That stuff being committing your life to someone and becoming a family with them. But if your families and family beliefs are entirely different, what happens next? Suddenly, it isn't just about some stupid, though awesomely amazing sounding steel drums. It isn't about oxtail or curry goat or whatever food you have at your wedding. It isn't about whether you wear blue or black or a white dress. It isn't about the fact that he pairs his socks up in the drawer, but I throw them all in randomly. It isn't about any of that stuff, but it is about all of it. It's about the fact that he's bending for me, or I'm bending for him, but we're both completely different. Worse, our families are completely different. His family is traditional, whatever that means nowadays. It's in why they only have one boy and one girl, and why you can't get married in a backyard, and why his mom doesn't like that I'm in the army. It's about the fact that I have to act a certain way around them, which is really bullshit in the end, isn't it? I mean, I agree we should all put our best foot forward and not cuss excessively around anyone when trying to create a first or otherwise lasting impression, but aside from leaving out the overtly overt, am I me at all around them, or am I just the kind of girl that they wouldn't be overly pissed about their son hanging around and nothing else but a shell of that? And on that, who is Richard? Do I really know him at all? Is he bending backwards to be with me and tossing aside the things that he thought his life would be because I wouldn't care for them, just like I seem to have been doing before? My life has had huge, groundbreaking ups and downs, and things that have always changed without rhyme or reason. But one thing I've always been consistent about is the kind of family that I want to have. The kind of life that I want to live when it really comes down to it. I want kids, lots of them, like 5 or 6, or maybe just 5 so that you can all still pile into one minivan. And maybe a dog and a cat and just a crazy, hectic life. A big puffy couch and assortments of other slightly but not completely over-the-top beat-up furniture, and colorful bedrooms with bunk beds, and sliced fruit platters and marble cheese dishes and tiny cuboidal pieces, and soccer balls in our yard and a tire swing. But not one of those pansy ones hanging from a single rope. The good ones with 3 chains and a good swiveling bit so the kids can dare each other to spin until they're sick to their little stomachs. I want chaos, but not a messy, ridiculous chaos that makes people avoid your family altogether. Just a nice big family who really love each other, and the chaos from being so many different people, growing and learning at the same time. I definitely don't want a museum house. I'm okay with a cupboard full of assorted plastic cups and dishes in various colors, or the fact that the set of 8 good place settings is missing 3 of the bowls because they were broken in a pillow fight, a soccer game, and a general fumbly-fingered child incident. I don't need sports cars or expensive jewelry or rooms in my house that are meant only for sitting and having quiet conversations. I'm good with the TV always being on, something always needing doing, someone always wanting food. I know for a fact that Richard wants none of this. I know because he told me he wanted 1 kid. Maybe 2. I know because he's much too organized to deal with all of the above. And I know because his answer now for what he wants in life is, whatever you want, babe. But I'm starting to wonder if that's really okay. I've always said that you shouldn't have to try and make a relationship work. You should put your best effort in and be willing to work for it. But in the end, after all, I think people really are like puzzle pieces, and if they don't fit, they just don't. Shove one end into the other and call them both purple. After time, the puzzle that you continue to build around those 2 pieces will start looking wrong. Usually, it happens to be extremely obvious that 2 people are trying to shove together pieces that didn't belong. But what if it's not obvious? What if these pieces are a part of the puzzle that really do fit together, but didn't originally go there? What if the fit is okay, but the color is wrong, and the further out into the picture we build from here, the more and more messed up the picture gets? Do we really want to discover this halfway through the puzzle? And suddenly, I feel very much like me again tonight, and I'm just wondering where I've been all this time. That was written in my diary, my blog, in January 23rd. And yeah, I just wanted to read it to you guys because it's on the topic of relationships, which is kind of a new thing that I'm doing just on the side of my regular channel stuff. So if you guys want to make any comments, I would appreciate it. But I hope you enjoyed it otherwise. And yeah, have a good night.